name is Matthew Rosenberg, and I'm a yoga and spiritual teacher. And today I want to talk about really anger, the origins of anger, and how it has been distorted. So, we live in a culture in which anger gets no love. Many spiritual communities shun anger. They think it is a primitive energy, a primitive emotion that should not be expressed, and that if you're enlightened, that you shouldn't have anger. Okay? Our culture in general thinks very low of anger. If you express it in the workplace, it can get you fired. If you're not really able to hold the energy of the anger, which is very powerful, don't get me wrong, this energy is very intense. And it's so intense that a lot of people cannot hold it, and they can do very inappropriate things out of integrity, and they can really hurt people, hurt people's emotions, hurt people's physically. So, I'm going to talk about anger. So the origins of anger was to preserve. So the evolutionary movement in which anger arose is because to preserve the physical being. It was a way to create an adrenaline rush, kind of like a fight or flight type response in which you can protect and preserve and fight when you needed to. So this is thousands of years ago, really. It's how it developed, even longer than thousands of years ago. So, and this was important. This was an important movement to be created, to protect the being, the physical being. So I've talked about shame in the past, why we feel shame, and it's a similar movement in which, it's like kind of the next step in evolution. It's like when we had tribal consciousness, and we developed this self-checking mechanism so that we can stay in good standing within the tribe, so that we wouldn't be cast out, because being cast out of the tribe meant death. So we developed this way that we could this self-consciousness to be like, oh, I feel ashamed and that I'm thinking this or that I'm doing this, so that it would check our actions. So anger is even more primitive. The origin is more primitive than the shame. It really is rooted in the caveman days. Though presently anger still has a role, the evolutionary movement of the anger is just a little different. So of course, it still exists to protect the physical being. We still have physical bodies, so it needs to exist. But presently, the anger more so protects the psychological being, so the psychological well-being of a person. So if another person, and it's very connected into the shame, So if another person, family member, school teacher, classmates, they shame you and they say, "Why are you doing that? Why would you want to do that?" Or you're bad, or you're an idiot, or it can range from really passive aggressive stuff, or it can range to just blatant outright abuse, verbal abuse, really, psychological abuse. And so of course, the person not wanting to feel the shame that they are unworthy, that they could be cast out of the tribe, the natural movement is to defend yourself from being subjected to being unworthy. No one wants to feel unworthy. It feels shitty. It feels horrible. It really is the root of a mature spiritual practice to be able to really drop into feeling the sense of unworthiness, and without needing to defend and attack and lash out or create passive aggressive things and create mental neuroses and all these things. The not wanting to feel these things are the root of a lot of the mental illnesses that we experience. So I hope you can see that anger has an evolutionary purpose, right? It still has a reason it is present, and it's actually a way for people to create boundaries. So if someone is coming too much into your space, or for whatever reason, first of all you can say, please, I would like my space. But a lot of people didn't feel supported when they were younger to actually take their space. Because to have a lot of people didn't feel supported to have a tantrum when they were younger, because the caretaker would reject you. They would say, you're out of control, go into your room, you're being bad, you're causing mommy stress, you're being bad. Or some parents would even, if you expressed anger, they would be physically abusive. So what, physically or verbally. So what a lot of people in our culture do, this is prevalent. This is like a pandemic. What a lot of people do is they shut down their anger. But part of your anger is your power. So you shut down your ability to tell people no. And the reason we do this is because we've associated saying no to the caretaker and getting angry at the caretaker for maybe controlling us too much or not giving us our freedom. We've shut it down because we didn't want to lose the love and connection. So we sacrificed this part of ourselves in order to stay in good standing, which is, once again, we're getting back to the shame, to stay in good standing with the tribe or the caretaker. And so oftentimes we can't physically say no. We don't feel comfortable enough, we don't feel safe enough, we don't feel supported to say no. So what we do is our only means of saying no is to shut down energetically, is to develop a neurosis or depression in which we contract ourselves so much that we go into ourselves. So we fall into a loop of where we feel bad for ourselves, a loop of where we think we're bad, these types of things. Other things is where we shut down energetically. So we feel disconnected, we feel spaced out, we feel disempowered. We can also turn the anger back on ourselves because we feel this is how shame of being bad, how we think we're bad, that we're feeling angry at our caretakers or something. We turn it back at ourselves because it's not safe enough to push it at them. So now we turn the anger on ourselves and we feel self-loathing and self-judgment. So this repression of anger and shame is actually the pathology of a lot of mental and physical illness. When you shut down your power, you shut down your digestion. When you contract your energy, you become absorbed in yourself. So that means essentially you can't give. It makes it much harder to come out and give your authentic gifts and your contribution. It makes it hard when we're afraid to step into our own power because we're not afraid of other people. This is an interesting thing, is that a lot of people who shut down their power, they're afraid of other people's anger. It makes them uncomfortable and they think other people are bad. But energy is just energy. You see someone's anger, it's just energy. It's our reactivity to their anger. So we're afraid to meet them with our anger. So what we're actually afraid of is our own anger, not their anger, our anger. This is the nature of projection. It is so subtle. You likely won't know you're doing it. It takes a tremendous practice to cultivate the awareness to realize, oh my God, this person's getting angry and I'm feeling fear. And to own the fear and not judge or blame the other person. And of course, if the person is abusive, verbally or physically, then you need to create a boundary. And that boundary may be to create space, to create a distance or a separateness from them. And you'll notice, when you actually allow yourself to feel anger, it'll actually feel good. Just without the judgment around it, it'll feel grounding, it'll feel empowering. You'll have energy in your arms and your legs, and you'll feel like you'll be able to take a full breath. So oftentimes we experience a lot of frustration, and what the frustration really is just anger. We're angry that things aren't going the way we want in life, or angry at we're frustrated. And if you can actually just feel the energy of the anger without needing to change it, because we've developed a resistance to it because we think it's bad, very subconsciously. We have a belief that the anger is bad. If we can actually feel our anger, it's power. It's pure power. It's the empowerment we need to make change in our life. So, and of course, the anger is very powerful when we do express it it's going to be scary. At first, especially if you've shut it down, it's going to be scary. It's going to be shaky. Your whole body's going to shake. You're going to be afraid that the person is going to get angry at you or leave you. That the connection is going to be lost. That's the conditioning. That's the imprint in the psyche. And that's the pattern the ego is running still. But of course, once you really allow yourself to start getting angry, it'll get easier and easier. And you can then express it consciously. And you can just say, you know what, I'm feeling really frustrated. I'm feeling really angry. And this is why. I felt disrespected when you said this. Or I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel like these types of terminologies are, I'm just using examples. And it'll feel safer and safer and safer to feel your anger. So hopefully this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Please check out my ebook, Leaning into Life. It is a complete guide to spiritual awakening and sustained spiritual practice and communication practices to develop your intuition. It includes sections on money, the chakras, as they relate to the shadows in your awareness. Like, it truly is a profound book. The feedback I'm getting from it is that it's truly changing people's lives. You can find it on my website, cafeholistic.com. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Have a great day.